fpvdrones, and even javelins start to operate. The column of vehicles is quickly and methodically destroyed by Ukrainian soldiers holding the defense. A Russian IFV carelessly moves through Ukrainian fields, but not for long. A TM62 mine, plus the ammunition inside the vehicle, leads to it being blown into small pieces. The post-apocalyptic action film Mad Max inspired the Russians to create another masterpiece of military equipment, if you can call it that. Look and compare these shots. The effectiveness of this modification is highly questionable. It might cause Ukrainian forces to expend a few extra drones, but the time and effort spent creating this hedgehog are hardly justified. To illustrate, here is a recent video where you can recognize a similar contraption used to protect a tank, though without metal spikes. Several kamikaze drones, or so-called wild hornets, metaphorically sting the tank, leading to a grand explosion. Another detonation occurs. By the way, speaking of new developments, in these shots you are witnessing the destruction of a 2S-43 Malva. This artillery complex began production in 2023. The equipment is quite rare and has just started appearing on the battlefield, but it is immediately destroyed by Ukrainian forces. Here is a photo of the destruction of a similar 152mm SPG, which was destroyed using an M30A1 missile with tungsten balls from a HIMARS launcher. Look at these photos that confirm the claims. The vehicle is literally pierced by them. Destroying and finishing off vehicles with drones has become routine work for Ukrainian soldiers. Footage of such precise work is quite rare. Look at the sharp angle at which the drone with a cumulative charge flies directly into the open hatch of the tank. The person who operated the drone definitely deserves a thumbs up. Nearby, another precise hit turns a Russian IFV into charred metal. At the Ukrainian-Russian border, a T-80 tank was destroyed in the Belgorod region. The first drone hit the rear of the tank's turret, and almost immediately, the second drone missed and hit the ground near the tank's right track. This was enough to force the crew to abandon the vehicle. The tank remained in place, making it much easier for operators to finish it off. They used 3 more drones to completely destroy it. However, the cost and speed of drone production are significantly lower than that of a tank. In the Kharkiv region, a BM-21 multiple rocket launcher with a full load of ammunition was hit by a kamikaze drone. Interestingly, the vehicle did not immediately turn into a fireball, but started to burn slowly. As a result, the shells began to detonate sporadically and fly off in random directions. The same type of multiple rocket launcher, but this time Ukrainian, in the Donetsk region. Russian aerial reconnaissance tracked the vehicle and directed artillery fire. As a result, a fire started and the ammunition began detonating. But compared to the previous video, the explosions were much stronger. Look at the intense flames bursting from the vehicle. These frames are again from the Kharkiv region, where the fiercest battles have been raging lately. Another Russian IFV, BMP-3, found out firsthand that the so-called grills are powerless against a kamikaze drone. During the burning process, the vehicle appears to launch a signal flare, after which help is supposed to arrive. This doomed IFV explodes, creating a massive smoke mushroom. Look at this spectacular explosion once again. Literally nothing is left of the vehicle. You can see pieces of metal scattered in different directions. This is an older version of the infantry fighting vehicle, BMP-1, in the Donetsk region. You can see that it is partially covered with metal sheets for protection against drones. Ahead of it is a tank with a mine trawl. The tank hits 2 mines. The trawl does its job, and the tank continues moving. But it seems the Russians decided not to proceed further. In the next frames, you see the IFV exploding. It is likely that the mine density in this section of the field is very high, and the vehicle slightly veered off the path cleared by the tank, or the trawl missed one of the mines. In any case, the result is a completely destroyed IFV. By the way, on the IFV and all other types of equipment, the Russians almost always leave the hatches open, as we have repeatedly seen. But look at this combo: 5 open hatches for the drone operator at once. To finish off this BMD-4, he didn't even have to aim. To destroy this self-propelled artillery unit moving somewhere around Avdiivka, the operator needed more skill and expertise than in the previous case. But his efforts were not in vain. A massive munitions explosion led to the complete destruction of the equipment. Destroying enemy armored vehicles isn't the sole domain of the well-known FPV drones. A Ukrainian crew using a 122mm Howitzer 2A18 performed very effectively and accurately, destroying a tank with precise fire. Interestingly, you can see that the tank was equipped with a mine-clearing plow, but misfortune struck from an unexpected direction in the form of a 122mm shell. Under the fire of this artillery, an IFV was also hit. 2 shells missed, but the sensor of a planted anti-tank mine was triggered, causing the vehicle to stop. By the way, if you look closely, you can see that the road was most likely mined, so the trap was quite cleverly set up to catch the vehicle on the roadside. Almost immediately, the artillery resumes fire, and since the vehicle is stationary, a few more shots turn it into scrap metal. Another massive Russian offensive was repelled by Ukrainian kamikaze drones paired with artillery. Look at how the leading vehicle suddenly brakes sharply. Such an explosive collision is rarely caught on camera. From another drone, you can see the solid metal wrecks that the equipment is turned into. This still doesn't help against the drones, as one by one they do their job and burn the vehicles. The Russians are losing an incredible amount of equipment daily, with their long columns being destroyed before they reach their targets. Here are the scenes from another front line, where another fleet of Chinese vehicles has been destroyed. Using kamikaze drones, all the abandoned equipment burns and explodes. Just look at these hits. Soon, these vehicles, which are quite expensive, will be considered disposable. Notice this area. It has a very densely planted green mass. This doesn't stop the drone operators, who spotted and directed a kamikaze drone at a Russian tank. This IFV was moving towards Ukrainian military positions. The drone spotted the vehicle in advance and struck it. Although there were no significant damages or detonations, it forced the vehicle to abandon its plans and turn back. After a few hundred meters, the IFV stopped and the crew abandoned the vehicle, knowing they could not escape the persistent and swift Ukrainian drone operators. Their intuition was correct. The vehicle caught fire and eventually detonated. Another failed attempt by Russian forces to hide a T-90 tank in dense foliage. Ukrainian troops direct a drone very precisely between the trees. The tank burns and detonates. After the detonation, when the smoke clears a bit, you can see the result of the hit. Now let's rise a bit higher than the drones into the sky. Here are some shots of Ukrainian aviation working on various ammunition depots and logistical points of the Russian army. Ukrainian aviation also operates directly on the front line. If you look closely, you can see the shockwave and the flight of the missile. At the moment, Russian aviation significantly outnumbers Ukrainian aviation, both in terms of the number of aircraft and the range of applications. Moreover, Russia faces no bans or restrictions on the range of use of various types of weapons.